you are a Joey Logano fan, the next 2 races will be a breeze, and why not? He's locked into Phoenix with his win last weekend at Kansas. Today, however, the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series kicks off the second race of the round of 8 in the NASCAR playoffs as 7 drivers fight for 3 more spots to make it to the Championship 4 in Phoenix. Welcome to the Great American Speedway of the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth for the running of the AutoTrader EchoPark Automotive 500. It's expected to have good weather here in Fort Worth, Texas. Temperature going to be in the mid-70s, 10% chance of rain, but in typical Texas fashion, the main important factor is the wind, 14 miles an hour heading in the Speedway. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jack Krause, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning as I fill you in with everything you need to know for tonight's NASCAR Cup Series race from the Texas Motor Speedway, the second race in the round of 8 of the playoffs. Let's first start off with some news from the racetrack that took place over the race weekend. First of all, let's start off with the Circuit of the Americas. Now, we do know in the middle of May, around late May, May 21st to the 23rd, it will be NASCAR that'll be racing at that venue. It was supposedly at first just going to be the Cup Series. We did not know what the Xfinity and Truck Series schedule knew at the time. Well, now we know at least what the 2021 schedule will look like around May 21st to the 23rd, as it was announced that the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series will join the Cup Series to create a NASCAR triple header from Circuit of the Americas. Now, I think this is a great move. I mean, already having the Cup Series going to Circuit of the Americas is going to create a lot of buzz. And I think having the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series go to Circuit of the Americas on the same weekend, it's just going to add on to the experience. So I think this is a great idea by Speedway Motorsports and Circuit of the Americas. Now, well, even though that is really good, you know, with a lot of stories, one thing that's good, but in other stories, there's another thing that is really bad. And it's, of course, we're going to be talking about the Chicagoland Speedway. We know the deal that's going on with that racetrack. It has been questionable its future for a long time. We got the announcement that NASCAR will not be returning to Chicagoland Speedway, not even for Xfinity or trucks. And now it looks like the fate of Chicagoland Speedway is just not good. The track president, Scott Paddock, who has at least held that position since 2011, he announced that he will be leaving that spot effective immediately. He sent a letter to city officials confirming his resignation. He did say, I believe along the lines of that he's going to be working to try and get NASCAR back in Chicagoland, but I think it's all but confirmed that more than likely Chicagoland is going to be torn down, probably turned into an industrial zone or a parking lot, or maybe similar to the Chicago Motor Speedway, the racetrack before Chicagoland, and be, I believe, a Walmart supercenter. It's just not good. Again, Chicagoland Speedway was a racetrack that a lot of fans loved, especially as of late, and it's just sad to see just the slow downfall that Chicagoland has been trending these past few years. I mean, to go from the height of 2001, when it was packed out, sold out crowd, to then, you know, in 2011, being the first race of the playoffs, or at least the chase back then, to go from that to now potentially going out of business and shutting down and being torn down, it's sad. But it's like with a lot of stories in 2020, something good happens, but at the same time, also something bad happens. So it's good that COTA is getting a triple header, but it's also sad seeing just at least another step in the downfall of Chicagoland Speedway. And finally, let's talk about Jimmie Johnson. We know he's going to be retiring from NASCAR full-time at the end of the 2020 season. We know he's going to Indycar in 2021 for a part-time deal with Chip Ganassi Racing. It was already confirmed that he was going to be doing only the road courses, not the ovals. But one thing they did need was a sponsor, and yesterday they got one. Carvana, that little company that has these tubes of cars that you can just pick them up. I don't know exactly how it works, but it was a pretty cool. I guess you could say like a new era on how people approach buying cars. Carvana is that place to be. So very cool to see them jump on the ship. They announced that Carvana will be part of Jimmie Johnson's sponsor for 2021. And also Johnson will race the 48 car in IndyCar, so at least he gets to keep that tradition going. But yeah, it's really cool to see Johnson be able to secure his ride in IndyCar. It's going to be very fun to see Johnson come in IndyCar in 2021. Scott McLaughlin, who was making his debut IndyCar race today here at St. Petersburg, running races in 2021. Lots of things good that are happening with IndyCar. I wish the schedule correlated with that sort of add up hype. But it is cool to see Johnson getting this full-time deal, or at least this sponsorship deal that confirms his ride. As for who will take over the 48 car during the oval races, like tracks like Texas and the Indy 500, that has not been yet announced. But now let's focus back to Texas Motor Speedway, the second race of the playoffs. Last weekend at Kansas, Joey Logano won at the Kansas Speedway, beating out Kevin Harvick, or at least I should say holding off Kevin Harvick to become the first driver to advance into Phoenix in the Championship 4. This is what the standings looks like heading into Texas. So Joey Logano, he's the only one that has been colored in yellow, indicates he's advanced. Kevin Harvick plus 41, Denny Hamlin in third plus 20. He had a mulligan at Kansas when he suffered a crash into the outside wall off of turn number 4, plus 20, and Brad Keselowski holds the final spot plus 8 ahead of Chase Elliott. His teammate Alex Bowman in 6th plus 20, or minus 27 I should say. Martin Truex Jr. minus 31 and Kurt Busch minus 73. Basically, Busch is in a must-win situation. I don't see how it's possible for him to gain points in both Texas and next weekend at Martinsville. He's going to have to win a race. Like I said, for Denny Hamlin, he got a mulligan last weekend at Kansas when he hit the wall off of 4 and had a really bad finish. I think finished outside the top 20, 25. I'm not sure exactly, but I mean, hey, with the playoffs nowadays, Hamlin is lucky he won all those races and earned all those playoff points earlier in the season, because without him, more than likely, he would have been in a position like his teammate Martin Truex Jr., who only won one race this season and be around minus 30 or so below the cut line. So Hamlin is lucky he got all those playoff points. And now let's take a look at the 2020 AutoTrader EchoPark Automotive 500 starting lineup. On the front row is Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano, who finished 1-2 in yesterday's Kansas race. Row 2 has Brad Keselowski in the 2 car and Chase Elliott in the 9 car. Row 3 has Alex Bowman and Martin Truex Jr. And row 4 is Denny Hamlin and Kurt Busch in the 1 car. Row 5 is Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney. They ran out the top 10. Row 6 is William Brown in the number 24 car and Austin Dillon in the 3 car. Row 7 is Eric Almirola in the 10 and Matt DiBenedetto in the 21. Row 8, pair of rookies on the inside, Chris Rebel in the 95 car and Cole Custer in the 41 car. Row 9 has Eric Jones in the 20 car and his ride next season, the 43 car of Bubba Wallace. Row 10 has rookie Tyler Reddick to his inside, and on the outside is the 17 car of Chris Buescher. Row 11, Clint Boyer in the number 14 car participating in his final Texas start, and to his outside is the 47 car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Row 12 has teammates Michael McDowell and rookie John Hunter Nemechek. Row 13 has the 6 car of Ryan Newman, and Jimmie Johnson also racing in what could be his final Texas start. Row 14 has the 13 car of Ty Dillon and the 32 car of Corey LaJoie. Row 15 has Ryan Preece in the number 37 car and the 96 Toyota of Daniel Suarez. Row 16, Brendan Poole in the number 15 car and Matt Kenseth in the 42 car. Row 17, the 27 car J.J. Yeley in the 00 car rookie Quinn Houff. Row 18, Reed Sorensen in the 77 car and Timmy Hill in the 66 car. In the final 2 rows, Josh Bilicki in the 7, Garrett Smithley in the 53, and rounding out the field is the 51 of Joey Gase and the 49 car of Chad Fincham. Now let's take a look at the odds to win today's race. Kevin Harvick, who is the defending winner of this racetrack, top of the board with the best shot at winning, plus 250, and right behind him is his season rival Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, plus 500. Joey Logano plus 750, last weekend's winner at Kansas, and then Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. both are sitting at plus 1,000. Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch starting 9th and 10th, they both have 1,100 to their belt. Brad Keselowski plus 1,400, Eric Jones plus 1,800. Kurt Busch in the 1 car plus 2,000, Eric Almirola plus 2,800, and then we have a pair of 3,300 in Alex Bowman and rookie Tyler Reddick. Clint Boyer and William Byron, as well as Austin Dillon plus 3,500, Jimmie Johnson plus 4,000, and Matt DiBenedetto plus 6,600. Kind of surprised to see Jimmie Johnson that low. I mean, he is a 7-time winner at Texas, but then again, he hasn't won since 2017, but still pretty low for a 7-time winner at the Speedway, plus 4,000. But what can we expect from this race at Texas? Well, one thing I can say, you're not going to get a race what we saw yesterday in the Xfinity series. I know this is the Cup preview show, but I must say, that Xfinity race was wow. Just wow. I mean, that was, for a Texas race, at least in recent times, unbelievable race that was. Huge congrats to Harrison Burton, passing Noah Gragson on the final lap. But that's Xfinity. Let's talk about Cup. For Cup, Logano, he's already locked into Phoenix. He doesn't need to worry about it. But I have got my eyes on Kevin Harvick. I think he is going to win today's race. And the reason why, because number one, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Last week at Kansas, he was so close. He had the faster car. If you watched the final laps of that Kansas race, he had the fastest car. Just couldn't get by Logano due to the dirty air and the package and all that garbage. Well, now he's getting to a track where, number one, he has won, I think, back in the spring of 2018 and is a defending winner. Well, actually dominated last fall in the playoff race. So Kevin Harvick, he's going to be my pick to win. I just think, again, with, I guess you could say, I don't want to say revenge, but at least payback from not being able to win last weekend at Kansas. And on top of that, he's had recent success at Texas. I got him winning this race. But Denny Hamlin, he's not that far behind. He won in the spring of last year. But then again, Hamlin is sort of a either make it to the finish line and winning or not even making it at all. He has had finishes of winning, but has also had finishes of DNF. So with Hamlin, it's either you make it or you don't. As for the drivers that need a good run, you're looking at Mark Truex Jr. and Kurt Busch. Those two really need a good run. Well, Kurt Busch, he needs to win, but Truex, he needs to have a really good run. Minus 31 points below the cut line. We know Truex, we've seen him be very consistent. He even had a streak of finishing inside the top 5 in the last few races of the regular season. He needs to start winning, though. He's only had one win, and that was back in Richmond, I believe, early in the season. I could be wrong about that, but it was a long time since Mark Truex Jr. gone back to victory lane, at least since he's been in a Toyota. So Truex needs, in my opinion, I don't think he needs to win, but he needs to at least show some muscle in this race. It can't just be Denny Hamlin at Joe Gibbs Racing that has been pulling the muscle of the team. Truex has to step up, in my opinion, if he wants to even have a shot at making it into Phoenix. As for Alex Bowman, minus 27, again, I don't view him in a similar situation as Truex. I do think he's gonna need a little bit of luck because you have Harvick and Hamlin that are so strong. I think he can be a contender against Brad Keselowski, who holds the final spot. But Bowman, he's also gonna be a driver that needs to have at least a good race. He cannot afford a mistake. He cannot afford an accident or something like what happened to Denny Hamlin. He's not too comfortable. He's nowhere near comfortable in order to have something bad happen to him. So Harvick, I have him winning this race. Hamlin, as long as he finishes in the top 10, he'll be good. Keselowski, he's going to be on his toes. He's going to have to look out for the 9 car of Elliott, for the 88 car of Bowman. I think those two are his biggest competitors at the moment. Truex, he's in a bit of a weird situation. Part of me feels like he has to win, but part of me feels like he just needs to have a really good run, be up there in the top 5 in all 3 stages. Kurt Busch, he just needs to win. There is no way, at least with his car, there is no way he's going to be able to make up 73 points and pass 4 drivers in the standings. So it's going to be very interesting to see at least how the playoff part plays out at Texas. But as for the racing itself, I won't be surprised if we get a boring race because I know what we saw yesterday in the Xfinity Series race was a great race, but I think that was partly because of the package. Having a bad package with a not so good reconfiguration does not equal up for a really good race. I know what we saw back in the spring or in the summer in Texas when Austin Dillon won that race. That was like an outlier. That was just a race that was out of the ordinary. For this race, I don't think you're going to expect much. I got a Harvick winning, and I think he's going to not only win, but dominate this race. But that's going to conclude this episode of MDK RaceDay. Guys, tell me in the comment section down below, who do you think will win today's race? And what do you think is going to happen in the second race in the round of 8? But until next time, my name is Jack Cross from MDK. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys next time.